name? What's your name? What's your name? I'm a Kamen Rider.
What's up, everybody? It's the Quarter Guy, and it's been a long time since I've done one of these reaction videos for a patron. This is for my Pure Platinum Patron, Professor Chaos56, and this is an unusual request for a reaction video, but because he's actually asked me to react to a review, or at least the first part of a review. The author of the video is Darklordjadow1, and the video is part 1 of his review of Hercules, the Legendary Journeys for the N64. Now, I have obtained permission from the original video's creator, and there's going to be a link in the description for the video below. I don't know why I still have these reactions as a patron reward. I'll have to make a note to revamp my Patreon and think of some rewards for this, but, okay. Let's get started. Oh boy. He does not look happy.
I don't know where to start with this. I didn't research this game. I didn't know anything about it going into it. I never watched Hercules, the Legendary Journeys.
Yeah, well, neither did I.
I don't have any real attachment to the Legend of Hercules itself. All I knew going into this game is that it was made by the same crap-flinging monkeys that gave us Superman 64.
That's not a good sign.
And that was reason enough for me to go down to the video game store
this
and pick up
guy
this piece
does
of
not
crap
look
so I
happy.
could rip it to pieces.
I guess a good place to start would be to talk about the game's developer, because I polled my viewers last year to see if I should review this or Batman Dark Tomorrow, and the votes were unanimous. See, Superman was developed by Titus, while Hercules was developed by Player One Incorporated and then published by Titus. Everyone said, oh, Hercules wasn't developed by Titus, it was developed by Player One. It's not going to suck. Yeah, well, let me tell you some more about Player One. They started in some guy's garage in LA. They developed 11 games from 1996 to 2000, after which they went defunct. Half of their games were either canceled or otherwise never released. And one of their games was a bowling game, so that shouldn't even count towards the total.
Well,
Hercules
they did do Robotron 64, so I guess...
two games the company released, and they came out on the same day.
A broken clock is right twice a day,
only
right?
released as a rental, just like Daikatana, and I'm starting to think released only as a rental is code for we're never going to sell this shit, so we need to get paid up front. And of course, now I'm going to have to review Blues Brothers 2000 somewhere down the line, because Hercules is one of the most astoundingly incompetent games I have ever played. The game starts with a scribe telling you that Ares, Hercules' brother and total asshole, has taken over the throne from Zeus and somehow screwed up the planet, and it's up to Hercules to stop him. Yeah, stop Ares in
evil brother screws up the planet because reasons.
So, it took about 10 seconds for this game to start sucking. I'm sorry, I'm not very motivated to play your game when I don't even know what the overarching goal of the game is. The only thing you're told at the start of the game is, Ares is a dick, go do something. Be heroic and ponies, whatever.
We do something.
And it doesn't get better from there. The game starts with you at the stables of Hercules' master, and it gives you a few chores to do, basically serving as a tutorial to the game.
I'm already
it's never a
how he
good
was able to
sign
put
when
himself
you're
through
playing
this.
the tutorial of the game. You're just learning the controls, and you can already tell that the game is going to suck. The feeling of dread immediately sets in as you know that you're in for pain, and you haven't even started yet. Let's start with the camera. Whenever you start moving, the camera sways from side to side, so it's difficult to see where you're going, and the directions of the control stick keep shifting with the perspective, so Hercules keeps moving off course like he's drunk when you try to just run in a straight line. I think the problem is that the camera is programmed to move to fixed locations when you run through certain parts of the game world. You'll be running along and suddenly the camera will zoom way the far out, and then it will zoom right back in again. Most third-person games do this in order to highlight an important part of the scenery, but in Hercules the camera shifts for no reason. I'm walking through the valley and the camera jumps back so I can see the roof of the barn. Why do I need to see that? There's nothing up there! You can lock the camera into place behind you by holding the Z button, but if you hold Z and you stop running straight, the camera's angle doesn't change to stay behind you. It stays at the angle it was at when you started holding the button, so you have to keep releasing and holding the Z button to keep the camera centered behind you. You have to wrestle with the camera every few seconds just to be able to see what you're doing, and it's so annoying! And even when you do lock the camera behind you, sometimes the camera locks in place in an overhead view so that you still can't see what you're doing. Why does this camera suck so much ass? The other thing you learn during the tutorial is how combat works, and the combat sucks too. You press the B button to punch until the enemy gets stunned, and then you press A to throw the enemy
The
to finish
footage
them
of
off.
this,
That's
the
all
footage of
you
this game
do.
is painful to watch.
That is all you do. There are two kinds of enemies
can't even
in the
imagine
game,
how bad
wolves
it would
and
be to
humans.
play.
Human enemies do nothing except run towards you and attack with a melee weapon. None of the enemies require any kind of special tactics.
I feel sorry for
None
this
of the
guy for
enemies have
having
special
gone through
attacks.
this
Every enemy
already.
in this game is
And this-
exactly the freaking same. Has the exact same attacks and the exact same behavior. You fight every enemy the exact same way. Mash B, press A, that's it. And it's just wonderful that the camera sucks so much ass that you have to wrestle with it to actually be able to see the enemies
Is it
that
wrong
you're
that I
trying
feel
to
his
fight.
pain?
It also sucks that enemies like to use leaping lunge attacks, so enemies just come flying at you from off screen.
Oh,
I guess that I shouldn't be surprised
oh
at this
my
since the
God.
enemies have bladed weapons and you have a tank top, but whenever you get hit by an enemy,
Oh.
you lose a huge chunk of health. The path leading to the first village has apples that replenish your health, and an apple replenishes less than half the damage that you take from a single hit. You have the option
What?
of blocking
What?
attacks, but the block button is
Seriously?
way out of reach from any of the buttons that your fingers are over, so there is no quick, much less comfortable way to go between blocking and punching. Luckily, you have the option of just running through groups of enemies, so you don't have to put up with the wretched combat. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, when danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and fled. But since combat is so tedious,
I
you will
understand that
always run
reference.
past the enemies to save time. The
Oh,
only reason
boy.
you'd ever need to fight enemies is if you need money, because there are a few points in the game where the game just sets up a roadblock and makes it impossible to progress until you have the money to purchase a plot MacGuffin.
Oh,
You
so
know,
the game
is it just
basically
me,
has its
or
own
does this
version of
game kind
Moneybacks.
look like Zelda.
Lovely.
Ocarina of Time came out years before this game
Oh,
came out,
boy.
so is it possible? Yeah, maybe it's just a coincidence. Just because the games look alike doesn't make it a Zelda clone.
Look
After
alike?
you finish the tutorial, you leave and head for the
This
first
game looks
village.
ugly
You
as
run through a
sin.
path looking for keys and switches to open the doors that block your path.
Oh my
When you
God.
get to the village, you talk to everybody in the town. Most of them
game
have
is
absolutely
so
nothing relevant
ugly.
to tell you, but some of them have little side quests for you to do, and you have to go kill a boss that's threatening the village, and oh my god, this game is a Zelda clone. Well, not clone, more like wannabe. In the
Total
first village, you
rip-off.
find that a Cyclops has blocked off the river that
That's
runs
the
through
term
the
you're looking
town.
for.
Only
Rip-off.
water still runs through half of the town,
Not
so
even
I
a
don't
good one.
entirely see what the big problem here is. Just walk to the upper part of town to get your water, you lazy asses. The town's
boy.
not all that big. You need to go kill the Cyclops, but the Cyclops' lair is blocked off by a gate and requires a key to enter. How do you get
Let
the
me
key?
guess.
You talk to a woman who's missing her cookbook. You wander into some random
Fetch
house to check the
quests.
bookshelf to find the cookbook. You give the woman her book, and inside
Oh,
you find a key. You
dear.
take the key to a treasure chest that's sitting around the edge of town, and you find a teddy bear. You give the teddy bear to the guard, and he gives you the key to the Cyclops' lair. And I found out while recording that if you try to get the teddy bear before you talk to the guard, it won't be there. Now, I'm not complaining this is too hard to figure out, because I figured out that this
What
entire village
is-
pretty quickly.
what even is this
What I'm
game?
complaining about is, does this sound like fun to you? What
No,
you do
it
in
does
this
not.
village is talk to a bunch of people until you find someone who's important, wander around until you find an item, swap that item for a key, swap that key for another item, and swap that item for another key. It's common for Zelda games and RPGs to have little side quests where you track down an item and give it to a villager, but
Big
those
Orange
side
Sword,
quests
anyone?
aren't mandatory to the game. This is filler. The game doesn't let you go to the boss fight unless you run around the village doing stupid shit first. And it's honestly stunning how this game manages to find a way to screw up something simple that you wouldn't even think could be screwed up, the inventory system. When you get
Wait,
an
what?
item, it gets added to your
What?
inventory, and that item cannot be used unless you equip it. So you have a situation where you walk up to a lock, Hercules ponders to himself that maybe the key he has in his pocket will open the lock, but Hercules is too stupid to actually use the key
What?
unless I put the key in his hand. So every time you need to
Oh
use an item
my
that there's no
freaking
reason
God,
you can't use
they-
automatically, you have to pause the game, go to the inventory screen, select an item, and then go back to the main game. It's a pain in the ass! I also have no idea why the game puts a map on the game's pause menu when the map doesn't have villages marked or routes labeled, and it serves absolutely no purpose.
Did this game raise his
There are
blood
several
pressure?
buildings inside
I'm
the
beginning
village.
to think
There's a
it
farm
actually
where
raised
you get
his
a
blood
game critical
pressure.
item that you'll need later. There's a mill where you get a game critical item that you'll need later. A random house
Oh
where you
my
find a
God.
game critical item that you'll need later. There's a tailor shop where you come back later to get a game critical item that you'll need later. And a tavern. If you go to the tavern, you can buy earth, wind, fire, and ice potions, but you can't buy any items that
the
restore
four
your health.
elements.
The only way to recover
Yep.
health is to smash open barrels in the town and drink the beer that you find inside them. You can't find an inn or any place
Insert
to
Alex
restore your
Dorshan
health,
joke
and you
here.
can't carry any recovery items, The only way to heal up is to steal beer from the villagers, which begs the question, how come the tavern doesn't sell beer? Even saving your game doesn't restore your health. You can only save your game by talking to a scribe who keeps records of your journey so that later generations may learn of your greatness.
So basically,
so far all I've done on this quest is beat up
Watts.
scarecrows, give a guard a teddy bear, and rob the town of their entire beer supply. I don't exactly see this story being on par with Harry Potter.
Oh
and you know how in Zelda games, before going to fight a boss, you go through a dungeon that's full of interesting enemies and puzzles that you have to solve?
Let me guess,
when you fight the Cyclops, you just go right to the boss fight. I'm starting to think that this game is like Zelda if you took all of the interesting things out of Zelda. The Cyclops is a cheating bastard too. He decks you the instant the fight starts, and whenever he gets knocked down, he launches a shockwave attack that's damn hard to dodge unless you start running immediately when his ass hits the ground. And you're going to die a lot, since Hercules, the demigod renowned for his strength, can only take a few hits before keeling over. When you die, it takes you back to the main menu, and not only do you lose about a full minute while the game over screen shows and you load up your save again, but dying means that you're forced to go back to the last scribe that you went to. It makes an already tedious and annoying game even more tedious and annoying because it's easy to die and you get sent back every time you die.
I need to ask this
so now I have to steal back all of this
for as long as he did?
to heal up and then talk to the scribe so that I don't have to heal myself again if I get killed again. What exactly is the scribe writing in that book anyway? And thus Hercules went into town and he did smash open the town's barrels of beer, and he did drink the town's entire supply of alcohol, and verily did Hercules become completely shit-faced. And thus Hercules went to battle the fearsome Cyclops while in this intoxicated state, whereupon he became known as Hercules, the god of bar fights. And once the battle was consummated, Hercules had a hangover the likes of which man could not conceive, so he requested his friend Aeolus continue the journey in his stead.
Okay,
once you
that
kill
was
the
actually
Cyclops,
funny.
you talk to Aeolus, a friend of Hercules who offers to go to the next village for you, so you take control of him for the next portion of the game. What's funny is that Aeolus is a mortal, whereas Hercules is a demigod, and yet Aeolus is a much better character than Hercules. He's got a wooden staff that gives him range to his attacks, and despite having less health than Hercules, I swear he takes damage much more slowly, so combat sucks much less while you're playing as him. The only advantage Hercules has over Aeolus is that Hercules can use potions to attack nearby enemies, but potions are $75 a pop. You save that shit for a special occasion.
$75?
Is there any chance I could just play as Aeolus the rest of the game? Please?
Okay, then.
So Aeolus comes to another village where the mayor has been sealed inside of a magic force field. First, you climb on the structures around the town until you find some girl Stray Cat. She offers to bake you a pie, but you need some flour. To get the flour, you have to hike all the way back to the first village to get grain from a farmer, and then you take the grain to a miller so that he can turn it into flour, and then you hike all the way back. The girl makes a pie for you. You take the pie to some lady who says that she's hungry. She lets you use the secret passageway inside of her house, which leads to a treasure chest that has the magic stone that destroys the force field, and then you leave. This village doesn't even have a boss. You just run around talking to people and getting items until you're allowed to leave. This isn't gameplay. This is busy work. This is filler. Running around talking to people is not something you build an entire game around. It's the pointless extra material that comes between the actual gameplay sections where you actually do stuff. Oh, and to open the treasure chest that contains the magic stone, you have to find the key. And after talking to everybody on the damn planet, I still couldn't find the freaking key. Want to know why? Because the key is invisible. It's in a pool near the center of town, and the only possible way you have of finding it is to jump into the pool and wander around until the look option pops up. Nobody even tells you to try looking in the pond. How the hell are you supposed to figure that out? Aeolus even lampshades things by saying he almost didn't see the key there. Eat my shorts. Now you're just making fun of me. If I didn't have a walkthrough, I could have played this game for years and never found that. Although playing nothing but Hercules for a year on end is about the closest approximation of hell that I can think of.
I can imagine.
Once you free the mayor, he gives you the key to the next village, which is called Thrace. So you hike all the way back to Hercules, then you hike all the way back to the first village, then you equip the key because Hercules forgets he has the key unless you put it in his hand, and then you hike all the way to Thrace. Isn't this just a fun game? Hike to town, talk to people, hike to the next town, talk to more people, hike to the next town so you can talk to more people. Makes me yearn for games like Batman Dark Tomorrow where you actually get to do things no matter how shitty those things may be. I don't even know what I'm doing in this game. What is my overall goal? What am I trying to accomplish? I have no idea what the story of this game is. All I know is that I killed a Cyclops, I rescued a mayor, and Ares is a douchebag. I don't know what
Even
Ares'
Rise
plan
of
is. I don't know
Fear
what I'm
looked like it
supposed
had more
to be doing.
gameplay than
I don't
this.
even know why I'm going to Thrace other than it's the
Rise
only place I haven't
of
gone yet. I
Lyric.
don't know what the story of this game is. You want to talk about Zelda wannabes? The Zelda CDI games did a better job of storytelling than this. In those games, you're told right off the bat that, my
That is
boy,
a big
Ganon has
oof.
taken over Gamelon or Korodai, and you have to go stop him. I'm not saying those games were good. I'm just saying that informing you about what you're trying to accomplish is such the basics of storytelling that even the worst video games usually get it right. So you run to Thrace, and the city is completely
This guy sounds like
deserted
he's about to have an
because of
aneurysm.
reasons, I guess. There are several doors leading away from Thrace.
And-
one leads to a village called Santa Manicus, and one leads to a village called
and as bad as
Alpsis.
this game
Well,
looks,
of course,
I wouldn't
I
blame
don't
him.
remember which village I just got back from, so shit. There's also a door that you can't go into because Hercules says, Hephaestus told me that I need the torch of Prometheus to open this door. Oh,
They don't
really?
even
Did he
provide a
tell you
map.
that in a dream? Because this is the first I'm hearing of the Torch of Prometheus. And after I sat through that god-awful movie, that's a name that would stick in my mind. So I guess I'll go to Santa Manicus.
Was the
Oh,
movie
what
really
fresh
that
hell is
bad?
this? Jumping on
I've
tiny
seen the
rocks
movie,
over a
so I would
bottomless
know.
pit. And there we go.
Oh.
I'm dead. Have to spend a minute watching the game tell me I fail and reloading a save, then go back to the last save point and hike to try and cross the chasm again. Not only are the
Oh.
rocks spaced so far apart that it's very easy to misjudge a jump and die, but because the camera sucks total ass, you have to jitter around on each rock to try and get yourself lined up for each jump, which can easily lead to you slipping off and falling on accident. You might as well replace that dopey soundbite of Hercules yelling with this. Somewhere along the way to Santa Manicus, I come across a cave where I can switch characters and take control of a centaur who's an archer. When you take control of her, she explains the controls. Let's see, press Z to enter targeting mode, press B to make the targeting bar appear, hold Z to exit target. What?
That
You
sounds
press
way more
C,
complicated
and
than
then
it
you move
needs
the
to
control
be.
stick, and what's a targeting bar? And you move the control stick to use the targeting bar. Position of the sun and the moon was at perigee, and the position of Alpha Centauri, or oh screw it, I'm sticking with Hercules. The funny thing about Santa Manicus is that you're told that all of the town's inhabitants are sisters. I guess that's a better explanation for why all the characters look alike than we were too lazy to program more than one character model. You
Nurse
must have
Joy
sisters in all
syndrome.
the other towns too. So what do you do in Santa Manicus? Do you fight a boss? Does this game finally turn into an actual game instead of a bunch of filler? No!
Nope.
You talk to a woman, get some bait, talk to a woman to get a net, use the bait and the net to catch an oyster, chuck the
This
oyster to get a
really
pearl, and
is
trade
all
the
this
pearl for a
game
key.
is.
This level is more goddamn filler. Run around the village talking to everyone, that's all
This is turning
you
into
do!
filler of the game.
Whatever, let's use this key to get to the next area.
How did he
It
suffer
looks
through
like
this?
the rune of Griffiths would fit
I
here.
know I know
What
I'm-
is the rune of Griffiths? Again, I'm being asked for an item that I've never heard of before. Well, guess what? I've been playing the
back in
levels
Vance.
out of order. You're supposed to
Wait,
go
what?
to Alpsius before you go to Santa Manicus. See, if this game were designed well, it'd be impossible for me to play the levels out of order, but considering that the vast majority of this game's content is pointless filler and busy work, quality design is clearly too much to expect. Hercules is the video
Indeed.
game equivalent of No Country for Old Men, where you can skip 90% of the movie and not miss a single goddamn thing. So I hike back to Thrace and shit. I hike
Dead
back
again.
to Thrace and I try to go to Alpsius, and I can't go to Alpsius because it's too cold. There's nowhere else that I can go that I haven't already gone. What do you want from me? Well, here's what you do. You go to all of the abandoned houses in Thrace until you find a completely arbitrary house that you can walk into. You buy a
what?
calf skin from the guy inside. You hike all the way back to the first village, and the tailor makes a coat out of
Wait,
the skin.
what?
The coat isn't big enough for Hercules, so you go back to Thrace, you switch to Aeolus and give him the coat, and you take him to Alpsius. Except nobody in Alpsius will talk to Aeolus because they're all assholes who only talk to gods, so you talk to every person in the city until you find the one person that will talk to you. You buy a cowhide, you hike back to Thrace, you switch to
dear.
Hercules, you hike back to the first village, you get the tailor to make you a big coat, hike back
Now,
to Thrace, and
honestly,
finally
this
take
game drove him
Hercules to
mad.
Alpsius. What the hell was the point of making me go to Alpsius with Aeolus first when I couldn't do anything except immediately leave and go get Hercules? The game is deliberately just wasting my time. The game just murdered half an hour of my time by making me hike to and from 3 different villages
What
twice, doing absolutely
this
nothing
game?
but walk to get some game critical items. I spent the last half hour of this game doing absolutely nothing. In what antimatter universe is this considered good game design? I've been
There
playing
is
this
no
game
universe
for
where this
4 hours,
is good
and
game
all
design.
I've done
This
is
isn't
beat
even
up a
game design.
Cyclops,
This is
talk
basically
to
a
a bunch of
walking
brainless
simulator.
NPCs, half of which have nothing to tell you, and go cross freaking country a few times. I don't even know what the story is. I don't
I'm
know why I'm playing.
dumbfounded.
I have no idea what I'm trying to accomplish. I haven't done anything that was productive
Ares
to
can have
anything in hours.
Why am I even playing this damn game? I mean, there's no
That's a
story,
good question.
There's no gameplay. All you do is walk from
Yep,
place
there's
to
the madness.
place.
There is the madness.
You keep trading items, hoping you'll finally get to do something, but you just do more walking and go to more places.
I feel sorry for him.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Hey, I'm back figure. So, that was certainly a review, and that was only part 1. That review could only be described as one man's descent into utter and complete madness over a game that's basically a walking fetch quest. I don't know how he even got as far as he did, let alone through through a two-part review. I feel so sorry for the guy. And I'm not gonna judge the production values of his video, considering it was made in 2013. For all I know, my production values were probably worse back then. But, well, it is what it is. So, thank you for watching. If you want to see me react to a video, just, that's for, Platinum patrons or higher, $20 pledge or more to my Patreon. Links in the description. And thank you, Professor Chaos56, and my condolences to Darklordjadow for having to sit through that piece of crap game. This is the Quarter Guy, signing out.